Time for this week's What a Shout. Myself, Dave Orton, ready for the show. And what a cracker it promises to be. Why? Now, ultimately, this is a show about GGs. And well, it's not a theme, this, on the show. We had two Toms a while back. But we do have two Gs in the studio. Gavin Lynch joins us from our Dublin office. Come all the way over. Stayed over last night up in the Ante Star. Here on What a Shout.
Yeah, already had a game of table tennis outside, so all good.
Did you win?
Probably not.
Okay, let's hope you get better during this show. The other Gavin, of course, is a man who's having a sterling season. If you put £1 on all of his rides this season, see if this is right, Gav, it's a £15 level stake profit. That's pretty hardcore, isn't it? Let's go through some of the horses that you've been, had the pleasure of riding. Simply the Bets, Rouge Vif, I'm on for the Arkle, Itchy Feet, Big Marsh Jason, St Calvados. He's one of my Clouseau horses. That's what I call him. It's like St Calvados. Every time he beats me, I'm on the second or something like that. And I believe that Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones were checking around Musselburgh yesterday because something extraterrestrial happened out of this world. He's back, the champ, joining us, Richard Johnson. 2 from 2 yesterday. Your first ride back's the double paid 9-2. None of us were on whatsoever. Up to Musselburgh. Ollie Murphy gives you it was all so simple, wasn't it?
Yeah, we knew it was going to happen.
I mean, the first one just got over the line, didn't it? Made for you. Brilliant name as well.
Look, it was a great day and it was just lovely to get back and obviously delighted to come back with a double.
I say extraterrestrial because the injury you had, we looked it up on the BHA website and it was supposed to be 67 days, 68 days or something like that, with Pete Skewin, and he was saying he's probably not going to match up. And he's 37 days. Gav, this is just, what's he doing here? It's ridiculous, isn't it? He's back at Newbury later today. It's a bit ridiculous, Gavin, isn't it?
It is, but that's what you do for the game.
You are all made of different stuff, I suppose, these days.
Well, you say that, but we have to compare ourselves to Dickie, who's...
I haven't got too many brain cells, so it makes...
You're trying to be modest here. Okay, we're perhaps labelling a bit too much praise now, aren't we? And of course, Richard has joined us as a columnist. Commiserations on that front, but we're going to see a lot more of each other, I'm afraid. Okay.
No, it's great to be part of the team.
Yeah, happy days. Great to have you. We're right behind you for the championship as well, which is back on. Let's see what we've got coming up on today's show. So we've got coming up the big calls and the big races, but we'll be starting off with the hot topics. Cheltenham Clues just around the corner quite literally now. And of course, we'll have best bets for you. We'll be looking through the big races. And of course, what are each panellist going to give us as a big shout this week? So, the first of the hot topics this week, what's it been all about? Well, we should mention coronavirus. Oh, amazing to think we might be brought to our knees by a virus named after a weak beer, isn't it, after all we've been through? But the coronavirus, everyone's talking about it. Gavin Lynch, tell me this. We're going to be all right, aren't we?
Yeah, we're going to be fine. I think 2's on the exchanges. I think it's a bet. We're probably 10 days away. There's no talk of calling off Premiership games, so I think we'll be fine.
Okay, Gavin says 2-1 on, let's get involved. Okay, fair enough. Well, there's been a lot of market, actually, activity on Betfair, I think, isn't there? Something like 60,000 on the first day, so a big topic indeed. But we're going to concentrate on the Cheltenham anti-post angle. And, of course, the weights are out this week. What caught your eye? What disappointed you? Was anything too high? Things that were expunged from races? Joseph O'Brien had a couple, I know that. Gavin, you're our anti-post shrewdy. Certainly over in Ireland, that's been the case on Up in the Ante. Espardelin was your big one last year?
Yeah, I gave it a mention once or twice, yeah.
Okay.
I think that one horse to mention straight away that's overpriced is Simply the Bets. One of Gavin's. It beat Imperial Aura the last day. It's up to 149. Imperial Aura is favoured for the novice handicap on the Tuesday. If that wins, I could see it going off 4 or 5-1.
Is he going to go for the plate, Gavin, with that sort of rating?
The Brown Advisory.
It looks that, doesn't it? Yeah. Because that we could be looking at some serious form from Trials Day there. The race has thrown up horses that are often running on its 4th or 5th that have done well at the festival because the handicapper usually gives them a bit too much weight. But you think these two might still be ahead of their marks?
I'd be hoping so, yeah. The horse that finished third at the Chris Gordon's, that came out and was very impressive around Kempton since.
On the slopes, yeah.
Yeah, and Kempton wasn't ideal for Simply the Bets. Harry Winton, your trainer, said that, didn't he?
Yeah, he just wasn't on his A game that day for whatever reason. First time stepping up and tripping, just never picked up the bridle, and because he didn't jump.
So Cheltenham's
he stayed on very well and gave us a lot of hope going into
Absolutely
Cheltenham.
made for him then. Yeah. Okay, because the Brooks are going to go in heavyweight, aren't they, this year? You've got some serious ammunition.
Yeah, hopefully touchwood all goes well, and I've got a lot of nice horses to look forward to.
Yeah, we'll get to Rouge Vif in the Arkle a little bit later on. That's my big hope. Any more, Gav?
Yeah, I have a few for you, if that's okay. One to mention is Trainwreck in the novice handicap on the Tuesday, trained by Henry, ridden by Rachel. It's 14-1. It ran against the experienced horse in Leopardstown. The third horse was only second out. That bolted up last Sunday in a decent race over the wrong trip. So I think that must have a good chance. I like Damn the Company in the Coral Cup for JP McManus and for Nicky. It was off for 18, 19 months, finished fifth in the Great Wood, came from a long way back. 2 mile was too short. The last day was 2.5. The horse she beat, Indefatigable, has won since. She's gone up £8. The interesting thing about Damned Company, she went from 132 to 140, then went to 142. Nicky appealed it and got it back down to 140 again. So I think that's very, very well handicapped. I like Billaway and the Fox Hunters. I think 7 to 1 is good value. If Willie Mullins has a few winners during the week, I could see that going off favourite.
He's given that a big mention, hasn't he? He's come out this. It's plied its trade a little bit. Is it because it's a young horse and it's just now absolutely...
It's only nature old and it's improving, and it won the best Hunters Chase in Ireland this year in Naas very, very easily. It sprinted away from them. And a horse to ask Richard about, if that's all right, is Pylon in the Martin Pipe.
Is that how we mention is that how we say his name? Pylon.
Well, I think
Pillion or Pylon.
Pylon is what he's called in the yard, so we'll go with that one.
That'll do for us. He looks like a fast improving horse.
Yeah, I think unfortunately, I think he runs in the boys' race, so he probably wouldn't have got in the Coral anyway. But
that doesn't suit you.
No, but but no, he ran a really, really nice eye-catching race the first day at Cheltenham behind Chantry House, and he's won two nice novices since then. So yeah, he's definitely a horse on the upgrade.
And in terms of price, I think that the biggest price differential between now and an SP is probably going to be Ravenhill for the Kim Muir. I'd imagine Gordon Elliott said it a few days ago that Jamie's going to ride that in the Kim Muir. And sure, whatever Jamie rides generally goes off favourite or close to it. So it's 10 to 1 Ravenhill at the moment. I could see that going off half that. It's off 142 in Ireland, and it got left on that in England. So it was second in the Kerry National. So I'd say Ravenhill is probably good value.
We like to keep these sections nice and punchy. We've already gone over our limit, I can tell you that. They're screaming at me about that. But they're also screaming in me because they want me to ask you about Time Hill. And are we leaning one way or the other at the moment for Ballymore or Albert Bartlett?
I think at the moment as it stands, the Albert Bartlett seems to be where Philip's sort of thinking that he's going to go. But again, I'll school him next week, and Philip, he'll be left in both races until the last minute. But I think if you're a punter, you need to back him. No run, no bet.
He's got a favourites chance, hasn't he?
He very much has. He absolutely loves the course. We love the game. Let's move on. All right then. Cheltenham Festival clues. Pretty much the penultimate time we're going to have this section here on What a Shout. Let's look back at what happened at Kempton last week. We had Harry Cobden on, chaps, the day after he got beat on Surname. He came in, we were all thinking, what's he going to be like? What sort of mood's he going to be in? Typical Harry, you know him, shrugged it off, confident as you like. There was 2 horses that he wanted to talk to us about. One was Grenadine. That's won twice since. I think it's gone up something like £20 in the handicap. Absolutely ridiculous. And the other was Solo, who of course we all had to look up. Ex-French had won around Ortoy. Keir McHale told them this won't win over hurdles. He believed in the horse. It was 20 to 1 at the time. Hats off, Harry. That was impressive, wasn't it? In the Adonis?
Yeah, very lucky. I was there, and you couldn't help but be impressed with it. It'll be a different kettle of fish in the Triumph, different track, a lot more pace. It'd be softer ground, but again, you couldn't help but be impressed.
He's won around Ortoy, hasn't he? So I've done a little write about him for our preview book, and I said, look, everything about him. When these Adonis, when it's Gavin, around Kempton, speed track all the way, bossed the race to a certain extent, didn't he? But he was going away at the line, beat the right horse in second. Would you worry about him up the hill having won around Ortoy?
I would really, no. I rode in the race the other day now, and we went a good gallop now, to be fair, and he just turned in and quickened away. But he looked like he stayed very well, and it looks like the other 2 that are going to up there in the betting, they're going to pop out and make the run, and they might well even take each other on. The Gary Moore horse and the
Goshen and
All Mankind.
All Mankind, who's got one way of running, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting that you rode in the race. Remind us the name of Warren's horse that you rode in that. I should know because I analysed the race, but his name escapes me in a minute. He was bang there, wasn't he? Sort of 2 out, and then he just got lost. And you forgot his name as well. You can look that up out there, but that's the sort of horse that we might be expecting. We might be expecting going forward that's the sort of horse that once he finds himself in a handicap, you're running these hot races. It rode like a top race.
It did rode like a very good race, but we weren't even in the race. It was only one winner that day.
Gavin Lynch, 20s into 3 to 1 for the Triumph Hurdle. Anti-post, is it now a case of bet on the day? Or
I'd say 3 to 1 is fair enough. The handicapper has him rated 157. Goshen that we mentioned, who got his rating mostly going right-handed, he jumps to the right. He's 151. All Mankind is 148. So he's a full horse, so I'm not surprised he jumps well. But he got a rating in Otay.
Yeah. Colt, isn't he? Yeah,
so
bizarre that.
He got a rating from Otay of 146. So it wasn't a fluke in Kempton. So he definitely deserves to be favourite, yeah.
I think he's been officially rated 157.
157, yeah.
Yeah, which is you have to, we'll have to look that up. You can out there as well, but not so many horses going into a Triumph rated that highly. Let's move on. The Novice Chase was won by Who Dares Wins, and I think we have to say a deserved win at that. Fantastic horse, isn't he? He's what you call extremely Mr. Versatile, lovable horse. Fourth in the Zazarowicz, big races on the flat Northumberland plate, that sort of thing. Over hurdles, he was excellent, wasn't he, as well? He's obviously not big, is he?
No, and actually, I after his first run, I thought, maybe whether he's really taking defences. And to be fair, on Saturday, going out to last, Tom Cannon asked him for everything. He responded really well, and he showed a really good attitude. So again, he's getting better. Looks like he's improving with every run as well.
The horse he beat had won the Dovecote, hadn't it, on the card, the Southfield, I can't remember his name. I always want to say Southfield Theatre with these horses.
Stone, was it?
Southfield Stone, there you go. Thank God Gavin Lynch is here. Gavin, Who Dares Wins. Now, we were saying off air, and I said to you, it's a little bit annoying out there. Maybe this could be my big call this week. But when I analyse these races, I get all these quotes and calls from the track saying, this is what Henry Ponsonby said in this case, the owner's syndicate, Alan King. They're going to go RSA. It's all about the RSA. You came in and said to me it's all about the Ultima. I changed their minds.
I read 2 days ago that Alan King said he's going to go with the Ultima. He's off 147. He definitely would want 3 miles, you'd imagine. His chases so far have been 2.2 to 2.5. He was a 2 miler on the flat, so Vindication looks like staying in at the top weight in the Ultima, so he could have a nice weight of maybe 11 stone or 10, 12 around there. So if he does, he has to have a good chance.
Gav, question for you. If you were riding a horse of that size in an Ultima, would you be thinking, I've got to keep this horse towards the outside, I don't want to get him, I don't know. I would worry about him personally in the hustle and the bustle of a big Ultima. Would he get lost potentially in that?
I wouldn't have said so, because he's ran around Cheltenham in the big races before, and he's gone down the paint. I think he was the horse that cut me up one day with Wayne.
Wayne Hudson's been on the show. Yeah, okay.
But look, he's small. You'd imagine smaller horse and more nimble, sharper. But yeah, you just ride him as you find him. Kingy likes his horses ridden one way really, and that's down the paint. He'd probably be mid-division down the paint in a race like that.
I think Alan King did win the Ultimate before with a novice, so.
Yes. Began with B, didn't it? Ben Salem.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God Richard Johnson's here today. Absolutely pulled it out of the fire, a new columnist, we should say. Okay, so let's move on. Let's have a quick look at Ireland, basically, because a lot of the other Kempton winners probably aren't going to go to Cheltenham. They're looking at Aintree and the likes, the Dovecote winner, for example. Burning Victory and Fernie Hollow, even, I should say. Fernie Follow. Can Fernie Hollow put it up to Appreciate It, who is looking like a red-hot bumper favourite?
I hope not, because I backed Appreciate It previously. But Fernie Hollow, they changed the tactics in Fairyhouse. They held it up. It was always a free sort before that in its 2 previous runs in Fairyhouse and in Leopardstown. It bolted up in not maybe the best race ever, but it's 8-1, I think, second favourite. Willie said afterwards, yeah, that's him booked for Cheltenham. And then he also said in the same quote that we'll see, maybe we might keep him from Ireland, so we'll see.
He's got the right colours, of course, hasn't he? Have you got right in the bumper this year, Gav?
No.
Not Richard?
Right, yeah, I might ride a horse of Tom Lacey's, I think. That went at Doncaster the other day, and I'm just trying to...
You can remember Ben Salem, but not Tom Lacey's bumper.
But I wanted him at
we'll
top on very soft ground. If the ground's very, very testing, he's really smart horse.
He was very impressive above Doncaster, rode in the race above there.
Yeah, it was good race.
I might ride Warren's if it runs, or last day he won around Cheltenham. But himself and was it Kim Bailey's finished second?
Yep.
They took each other on from a long ways out, and he looked a very nice ride. So we'll be looking forward to him, I'd imagine.
You can hear the keyboards, can't you, scrambling for the names. There are your Cheltenham clues. Right then, time for the social media questions teased from Twitter and Instagram and the likes. And James Basher Watts, there's a name, James Basher Watts on Instagram. And it's a great question, this actually, to either Gav or Richard. What's your favourite jump on any racecourse? A favourite fence, a hurdle, it could be.
I think he loves the chair, is it?
Good memories of the chair?
Well, yeah, not so much.
You're talking to a man who's just fallen and had an injury here. Terrible memories coming up. Do you have one that you attack with relish at Cheltenham, for example? What's the best feeling when you're going over? Randomly, I always love watching you going over the fourth last at Fontwell. The camera angle is superb. It moves and it pans. But that's a random one, isn't it? But when horses soar over that, it gets me going.
I love jumping. Well, if you're in with a chance going to the last at Cheltenham, it's uphill. If your horse is running for you, it's the right place to be, and you usually on a pretty good horse as well. So yeah, it's you're riding the
They
best
took out a
horses.
fence at Cheltenham, didn't they? The one that was coming down the hill.
Well, they moved it. They moved that now to the second arch is now moved around the bend again.
Yeah.
Because
Was that a good idea?
well, fences usually jump better when they're going uphill rather than down.
Yeah.
Gav, you must have one. Don't say the last at Cheltenham when
I suppose
Cole Harden.
the second in the Dingle Creek, that open ditch there, you see Ante winging up over that. He always stands off that, doesn't he? But that's just a really nice fence because it's going uphill and everything. It's really
So
nice
riding
fence
down
to
a
go down.
2-mile race, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just a really nice fence to ride up over.
James Basher Watts, interesting question there. Sammy Rowles, also on interesting Instagram question, says, Richard's best chance in the National, now Native Rivers out. That's a shame, isn't it? You were telling him to go for the Gold Cup though, weren't you, all the time? Don't concentrate so much on the National. Was that right? That was the word that was coming
Well,
out.
yeah, no, I still thought he had a great chance in the Gold Cup this year. But look, he's gutted. He's not going to, well, obviously not going to win either. But he was a horse I did think the National, he jumps, he stays. He would have been the ideal type. I'm hoping that, if his injuries.
Would he have been the ideal type for entry? It's always something in the back of my mind, this. I was thinking, because he's not, I don't know, he doesn't look like the most perfect, fluent jumper, does he? I don't know, you have to fire him at a few, don't you? And
He's brilliant.
he's brilliant.
I wish I could ride him every day.
I'm talking about Gold Cup winner not being ideal for entry, but Gav, have you got a ride in the National?
I might ride Hogan's Height for Jamie Snowden.
Okay, really prolific horse.
Yeah, he's ran up over fences before and won last time. So
you're going to have a spin. Richard, we'll watch this space.
Yeah, watch the space off. Yeah, we'll.
Gav, you got a ride?
Not at the minute.
Have you backed anyone for the National?
I actually had backed Native River each way, no bet, so thankfully I thought he had a great chance just with the trip and stuff.
Getting £4 off Tiger Roll, it would have been fascinating,
Yeah.
wouldn't it? Okay, there are your social questions. Have you placed a bet through the Racing Post app? It's the must-have one-stop location for all the best exclusive tips and horse racing news right in the palm of your hand. All you have to do is log in through your existing bookmaker account and you can place your bets without needing to leave the Racing Post app. No need for application hopping. All the while, you're still getting best odds guaranteed. Take a look through your in-depth race cards, check out your horse's form, our leading tips to verdicts, and then pick your selection for your in-app bet slip. Let's have a look at the first of the big weekend races then. Newbury's time to shine, the 205. The William Hills supporting Greatwood Veterans Chase, 205. Wonderful, these, Gavin, aren't they, these veterans
I think
chases?
they're a good idea, yeah. Sure, it means that horse will stay in training longer, so yeah, I'm all for them.
Yeah, and you two have both got rides in it. We're thinking Theatre Guide, who went very, very close in the final of the series at Sandown a couple of weeks ago, might be near the head of the market. You're riding Strong Pursuit for Philip Hobbs, and Gav, you're on Horatio Hornbelow for Nick Williams. Take it away.
I think, Strong Pursuit, he's a horse, he's now in the veterans category, but he's actually got very low mileage. He's unfortunately had a few injuries through his career, so yeah, he hasn't really probably had a chance to shine. So hopefully there's still, we haven't seen the best of him yet. He won a novice chase very impressively a couple of years ago around there, and he actually ran a really nice race first time out this year. I'm sure he'll have needed that run, so hopefully he'll improve on that.
Horatio, unseated last time, but before that he came into it on a hat-trick, didn't he?
Yeah,
Hopefully getting back on track, or?
Yeah, hopefully get back on track. Chester Williams normally rides him, so I'll speak to him. See
Have
what
you
we're
sat on him
doing.
before?
No, first time sitting on him.
Now, I've written about this chap a lot. Let me coach you here, Gavin. He tends to hit a bit of a flat spot after travelling well, but he can come on to the bridle. So don't be giving up now, all right? If he comes to 2 out and you're thinking, I've got 5-6 loads to make up, this bloke will try for you. These veterans, there you go, I've told Gavin there. These veterans races, are they something that you look forward to with relish because you think, this is going to be, you know everything about them, don't you, pretty much, apart from Gavin and Horatio, of course. But you know pretty much everything about them, don't you, at this point? You said he's got a few issues, Strong Pursuit.
Yeah, I think, obviously I'm one of the few horses that probably hasn't actually had a lot of hard races because he's had niggling, injuries through his career, and again he's in good form now. But usually you're not going to get beaten by a up and coming youngster that's unexposed, which again, so they're all on a pretty level playing field.
Talk about some characters, single farm payments in there as well, isn't he? Gavin Lynch, oh my goodness me. Oh, talking about the Ultima.
Yeah, I backed him that day. So that was, he looked all over a winner, didn't he?
Yeah.
I wonder if they changed Cheltenham to 5 days. There's a bit of talk that they might bring in a veterans chase, which I think would be a nice idea.
Fair enough. Well, there's a lot of strong talk about Cheltenham going to 5 days. Let's get selection times. Let's wrap this up. I've got a feeling that Theatre Guide will be there or thereabouts. I can see something doing him, but it's not really a strong bet race for me. Would you be fancying your chances, Richard Johnson?
Yeah, I think strong pursuit. If he's come on, like we hope he has for that first run, he'd have to be bang there.
If he gets his own way, Gav, are you gonna
Beat Dickie.
you're gonna gov him? Yeah, you're gonna beat Dickie.
When he hits his flat spot, I'll push him on. I'll
Well,
make
you
sure.
keep
Yeah.
pushing when he hits that flat spot. He'll kid you. Gavin Lynch.
I'll have no bet, but I think maybe Gavin's horse might win.
The veteran chasers can't wait for that. Right then, let's go up to Kelso. Big day up there on the borders. 2:45, William Hill, Premier Novices held Grade 2, 2 mile 2. I should say the first thing about this, 5 last time out winners in the race. It's a tidy race. The last 4 previous winners have all gone on to Aintree with varying degrees of success. There was a winner in there. Getaway Trump was turned over in this in the same colours for the owners group as Calverdage. I think that's how we pronounce his name, Calverdage, something like that. We're thinking he'll be favourite for Nichols.
Yeah.
Gavin Lynch, I said what sort of price, 2 to 1. I think that's pretty much what he is. He's got to beat Colondor Caitlin. She comes into it on a roll. Get a line from Richard about that in a second. But Calverdage, is this a case of where do we go with a horse like this, or is he thriving now?
Yeah, well, I suppose he's just maybe not good enough for Cheltenham, and it's a Grade 2 at the same time. So I fancy Calverdage. It won left-handed at Plumpton and was second to the Banner King Rebel at Haydock, but it lost a shoe that day. Then it went right-handed, was 5th in the Tolworth. It won a win Canton when Harry Copland said it hung to the left. The last day it won going left-handed again, given a 4-year-old, I think £16, Fraser Island. So I think that's good form. I think
Henderson also.
I think 2 to 1 is very fair.
He mentioned the Banner King Rebel. It's another big horse for you this season, Gav. Was that a good race? Was that a race where you just said, see you later, or did he feel like?
It was a good race that day. But my lad hasn't gone on to prove it since. But that day he was on song, and
it was a tough goal for him last on the Banner King Rebel, though. Really, I think, wasn't it? In that messy Betfair hurdle. Clondor Caitlin comes into this. Now, Brian Hughes will be going to Kelso thinking this is probably one of my best chances. She comes into it on a real roll. Would you be happy to ride a mare going in top form against some of these, should we say B-class novices, B-grade celebrity?
There's some decent novices, and I think, obviously she gets the mare's allowance. So it's, she's on rating. She probably nearly comes out on top. So look, there won't be much in it. And I think Paul Nicholls also at the moment, he just literally, every time we watch the TV, he's having another winner. So, I think Paul Nicholls' horses at the moment, they are on a rich reign of form.
They tend to come out of January, don't they, after the flu jabs, and they just absolutely rock and roll. Let's get a selection for this race. I think Brian Hughes is going to get one ahead of you here. Richard, are you echoing those sentiments? Are you expected to go? Did he win? Or
well, I'm sure you'll have good rides up there. So,
but you'd be with Nicholls' horse potentially.
I think Nicholls' horses are just they seem in such good order.
Calver for Richard.
I'll go for Chedlington.
Yes, with Candlish Yard.
Yeah, won his last 2, I think, and he the form at the Kelso at the 3rd came out and won impressively yesterday at Musselburgh. So I go for him.
Okay, Gavin Lynch.
Calverdage, a very good chance. I think the 2-2 will suit. So yeah,
tidy little race that. Let's see how it goes on. One of the sections you all love out there, me too, because it's big call time here in the studio, chaps. Something that's been really grating on me, I've got to say. And I've written about this a bit. There's been a lot said about it. The word precautionary needs to go in room 101 through the bin. What is a precautionary inspection? Is it an inspection of an inspection? I just don't get it whatsoever. Why do courses have to come out and say, we're having a precautionary inspection? They've all been going by the wayside, haven't they? Just say you're having an inspection, man. As a jockey, when you hear that, you're like, am I going to hit the road? Am I not? It's inspection out there, clerks of courses. We've got to get rid of the word precautionary, right? Can anyone tell me what a precautionary inspection is?
I'd say it means they're fairly confident of the meeting going ahead, but it's a bit silly, yeah.
That's ridiculous, though, Gavin. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. We need to rid of this. It's no good for everyone else, is it? Absolutely. So
black and white would be good.
Black and white would be good. Richard's on my side, now part of the Racing Post, of course. Richard, big call in the studio.
I think the festival should be 5 days.
Another topical one. I don't know how I feel about that, I've got to be honest. But
you've got, you've just seen the last 2 weeks now. I mean, everyone loves Cheltenham. I think, it would be well supported. I think jockeys, we get a couple more extra races to ride in, so it's good for us as well.
What if they put, there used to be a cellar, didn't there? There used to be can you believe that? It was way before my time.
I don't think we'll have one of them.
But there used to be a cellar, Gavin Lynch.
I'd like the idea of 5 days. I'd like to see a finish on a Saturday. To me, I love all sports. To me, the US Masters is great, the British Open Golf, Wimbledon, etc. But to me, the best 4 or 5 day sport of the year is Cheltenham. So why not have it on a Saturday? Make it 5, yeah? I think it's a good idea.
5-day festival for the champ. Okay. Gavin Lynch,
off
your chest, man.
I'd like to see horses getting dropped a lot quicker for when they start to show that they need to be dropped. For example, Column's Dream was a horse, over the course of 3.5 years, he ran, I think, 8 times, terribly. He was pulled up 4 times.
Trained by?
I'll come back to you in a second. I do know, I just can't think. And it was only dropped £19, which to me was crazy over 3.5 years. And I just worked out roughly 42 grand spent on training fees, roughly. So the horse was given no chance, really. I'd like to see horses dropped quicker.
Interesting, isn't it? Because this week we've had, of course, the Irish Marks all of them were going. I think only one horse got dropped, didn't it? That was Viada Tep, is that right? What's the Mullins horse in the Wiley colours? Vadu Rev. Is that his name? He was the
There was some that were
horse.
left on the same rating, like Ravenhill was left in 142.
But he was dropped £1 for some, and that's over chases. We should say that Ireland won from 69 runners half of the handicaps last year. So the handicaps have been proven pretty much right all the way. But it does seem strange, some of them, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think Carl Thornton trained.
Boom, you're back in the game.
Yeah, I just remember. I think it's fair enough that some of the Irish get a higher rating, because if you win an average maiden hurdle in, say, Navan or Naas, in Ireland you would probably get maybe 125, whereas I think in England you might get 130 for winning Newbury. So I think maiden hurdle winners in Ireland don't get quite as much. I think that's why there needs to be an adjustment.
Gav Sheehan, big call. Now, look, I'm going to get this in. I'm going to help Gav a little bit here, because I'm all over Rouge Vif in an Arkle, right? I'm hoping that the weather stays dry, because he wants better ground, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's better horse and better ground.
I think we could have a Kingmaker winner have a big say in an Arkle. I just think 14 to 1, 12 to 1 for a horse that looks every inch like he's going to make them go in an Arkle is a big price.
Yeah, his form is very good. It was his second run after wind operation. His first one was behind Global Citizen. But yeah, he's ran well around the track over fences. He's had a nice time around there. He handled his course very well. And I think he could be a very big player.
So we want the sun to put his hat on for Rouge Vif. However, it's probably not the same for some of the other powerhouse rides. Simply the Bets, for example.
Yeah, I want the ground different for every horse, but it's not
So
going to be
we'll
that
have it
way.
nice and dry, please, Simon Clace, on the Tuesday, and an absolute downpour, please. Water as much as you like on the Wednesday or the Thursday. Yeah.
Exactly. We're going to get what we're going to get, but it's going to
We're
suit
going to
some.
get what we're going to get. And on the first day, let's face it, chaps, it usually is that little bit easier, isn't it, as a result? You've got something to say about graded races, though, as well, before we move on.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more graded races over in Ireland, and I think that's something that we should probably bring in over here, is have more graded races over here.
It does seem a bit strange, doesn't it? I've written many years, looking for trends for horses coming in for the Supreme Novice, that the Tolworth is the sole real sort of opportunity for us to have a great win, one winner going in. Let's look at that. Shishkin, for example, will be a great example this year. Lacks that top form. We've got Asterion Flange against him, Abracadabra. More graded races. He'd have that tick next to his name. I'm pretty sure about that. Big call there. Some heavyweight calls for the weekend. Okay, then 3:15. Let's get back to Newbury on Saturday, because it's the feature race, the William Hill Supporting Greatwood Gold Cup. And Paul Nicholls has won 6 of the last 10 of this. Richard Johnson, you said earlier, he's been absolutely flying in the races. He beat you in the race last year. San Benedito, he lines up. Paul Nicholls got the top 3 in the market here. Montezavlois just about leading Secret Investor and San Benedito. But Gala Ball's your ride tomorrow, Rich. He was second in the race to San Benedito.
Yeah, no, he's already managed to win a race this year around Wincanton, and he's actually only a pound higher than that day. So he loves soft ground. He loves Newbury. Last year we were just saying it was nearly good ground all year. So this year conditions are more in his favour, but it's a very competitive race.
And you're going to catch him if you can?
Well, you'll always see him up. He's very prominent. He's a big lad and jumps and gallops along. So, he hopefully put up a good show.
He's around about 16 to 1 at the moment, I think. Double figure price at the time of recording. A horse that I like, Gav, sorry to put this one on you, but it's a Domaine de Lille, is that how we say it?
Yeah.
Yeah. He came unstuck, didn't he, last time at Ascot?
He did. He was off. I won him actually around Chips, off 120.
That form's worked out really well.
Yeah, and he's gone up £10, and then he won above at Newcastle with Brian Hughes, and then Bassi won him around Ascot off 140. But yeah, he got beat the last day off 146. But look, he's coming back down in trip. He got plenty of pace off Dickey. Hopefully he goes too quick and sets the race up for me.
Do you think the trip might have been the key last time, or was it just an off day?
It just might have been an off day. Horses can do that, they're not machines, so I'm going to put it down that it's just an off day, and hopefully come up trumps tomorrow.
That's given me a bit of encouragement. Gavin Lynch, a Nicholls runner for you.
Yes, as you said, he's 3 in it. I like novices against the more seasoned handicappers. I think they've more room for improvement. He was behind Champ first time at Newbury, 2.5. Angel's Breath again at Ascot, well beaten. The last day it was 2.7.5. He didn't stay, but also he was held up, and then with a little over a mile out, he was in front, and then he was held up again. Anyway, he didn't stay 2.7 the last day. I think 2.5 is his trip. 142, he's been left in that rating. So I think Montezavlois, not sure he's the most resolute in the finish, but we'll see.
Selection time. Domaine de Lille for me, Gav.
I'll back you up, yeah.
Happy days. Good man.
Montezavlois.
Rich.
Gala Ball.
Gala Ball all the way. Can he go one better? Another race then, Doncaster, the 335, the well-established 888 Sport Grimthorpe Chase. Gavin, some strange conditions here, we should first say, because the top two might head elsewhere.
Yeah, it was Richard that spotted that they're double entered. So
he did. Now, I assume that's because there's a precautionary inspection at Kelso.
Very good.
Yes, or is it just an inspection? We don't know, but definitely ready if he took his chance. He'd be off 12.7. He won the race in 2017, 12.7, and Saint Xavier with David Maxwell on claiming 3 would be on 12.1, wouldn't he? Of course, leaving Boldmere at the top of the weights, 12.7.
Yeah, it'd be a huge effort to carry that in that sort of race. But look, he's a very good horse. But they're obviously hoping to go to Kelso.
Probably pointing towards Aintree again. Gavin, you've had a little look at this race?
Yeah, quick look. That Boldmere that was going to win the last day above it, Weatherby, wasn't it? And came down at the last. But yeah, he looked like he was on a roll.
Yeah, that was a hat-trick bid, wasn't it? You like him, Gavin?
Yeah, I do, yeah. Again, a novice against the more seasoned horses. First time out over fences in Huntingdon, it jumped violently to the left and he pulled it up. Second day, strangely, they kept it going right-handed Leicester. It did jump a little bit to the left, but still won. And then it bolted up here in Doncaster, was going to win again the other day. It got £5 for that. It's off 147, but I still think it's well handicapped. It's going to be an each way price, maybe at 5-1. So.
Novice, last time out falling. You never know quite what you're going to get from a horse, do you, after it's falling? You never know quite what's going to turn up, but he certainly is unexposed there, I think. Chidswell?
Yeah, I think it's last year's winner. The ground, they're officially giving it good to soft now, so it's obviously he's drying a bit there, and he won it on decent ground last year, so I wouldn't rule him out.
You can tell the sort of winter we've had, can't you, when Doncaster is calling inspections, precautionary inspections, and all that sort of thing. Because usually that is the place where you can plot a horse, can't you? Thinking it's going to be nice ground, isn't it? Throughout the winter, it has been horrid ground there of late, which tells you, doesn't it? So hopefully we're getting a bit back onto what we should be Doncaster. So selection times, we've got 2 for Boldmere here.
Yep. Go Chidswell.
I like Chidswell as well. 2-2, headway. Okay, time for the My Racing Double. Welcome that back this week. And the guys are not worried about the weather because they're going for a head-to-head at Lingfield. Dazzacam, 125 for the chaps. And Spirit Warning, he's definitely got a chance, 235 at Lingfield. Good luck to the boys at My Racing. And so, breaking news here. We don't often do this here on What a Shout, but such a horse. Gavin Lynch, we're just getting news that he's been retired due to a tendon injury. The Warrior.
Yeah, that's a huge pity. Even, at the age of 12, the last couple of years in Punchestown, he's been brilliant. He beat Min, he beat Duvan. I remember him winning his first hurdle race in Punchestown, I think it was, many, many years ago. And he was so keen. But even
that was catching pigeons, wasn't it? That was ridiculous.
And even at 12, he's still doing it. So,
yeah,
a fantastic horse. That's a pity.
Yeah. Chaps, if you ever had a ding-dong with him, Gav, you were saying Tingle Creek you were upsizing.
Yeah, I always loved watching him, just the way his kind of running style and his enthusiasm for the sport. But yeah, rode St. Calvados into Tingle Creek and Ruby came upsides me and kind of, I felt like he was taking me on, but he was just winging upsides me. He was just electric up over his fences, but yeah, he was good to watch.
And Deffy Desoy, of course, what was the yard feeling of that? We've just beaten under Desoy on the bridle. A lot of people say he didn't go too hard that day or hard enough, but it's still under
He's like you said, he's an amazing horse, and wherever he runs, he always puts up a good show. And like I say, to show that enthusiasm for all his career, I'm sure the yard, Willie Munn's yard is very disappointed.
Absolutely. Sad news. Under so, we salute you. Okay, nap time, best bets here. I don't mind, gents, if I go first. A horse called Wanda, 3:15 at Lingfield. Did me a couple of turns a few weeks back. Absolutely hosed up. I think it can beat the Johnson horse. There's some value there at Lingfield. Gavin Lynch, please give us a winner. Or 5.
I'm going to mention 2 on Saturday in Navan and 2 on Sunday in Leopardstown, if that's okay.
You are.
Scarlet and Dove goes in a maiden hurdle in Navan. Didn't handle Limerick the last day over hurdles. It hung like a gate to the left, so going left-handed should suit. Also in Navan, Cut the Mustard for Willie Mullins. That'll be favourite, but it should win. Leopardstown on Sunday. I like Spruced Up. Didn't quite stay at 2-2 the last day, dropping down to 2 miles. That should win. And Bazio probably be favourite in the chase, but again, I'd hope that should win. I'm going to back it anyway.
And another Gavin Sheehan, give us.
Yeah, I've got a couple of nice rides. I think 6 tomorrow and 2 on Sunday. But I think Cage could run a big race tomorrow for Kate and Andrew Brooks. And Harry Whittington, he didn't really take the fences, but he did late in Aspel rode him. Above a Weatherby, ran a nice race above there. Lash said that if he had jumped to third last, a bit better, that he thinks he would have won. And I think Newbury will suit him tomorrow, back down to 2 miles. And Domaine de Lille then for Shawnee Kern.
Happy days, I'm all over that. Richard Johnson?
My best ride tomorrow, Tidal Flow in the novice chase at Newbury. Ran really well around there last time. Again, likes the track and he's in good form.
There are your weekend winners. Okay, that's all we've got time for, sadly, here on What a Shout. My thanks to Gavin Lynch, coming over from Dublin. Have you enjoyed yourself, Gav?
I did, very much, yeah.
Back for another Upping Ante next week?
Once you have the table tennis table, I'll be back.
Absolutely. Listen, we're going to get more in. Gav Sheehan, thanks ever so much for coming in. You're having a sterling season. We wish you all the best. Not just this weekend, but Cheltenham as well. Rouge Rift all the way. And Richard Johnson, our new weekly columnist, back with a couple of winners. It's all like nothing ever happened, Rich, isn't it?
Fingers crossed it keeps going.
Well, we'll definitely get Richard Johnson back in the studio before too long. That's it, of course. Don't forget to leave us all your comments on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, however you're watching. We love to read those. Hashtag What a Shout. Don't forget to download the free Racing Post app on the Play Store or the App Store itself. And remember, whatever you're doing this weekend, gamble responsibly.